We're often told to fear the sun, right? That sunscreen is our only protector, and maybe chronic disease is just, well, part of getting older.
Yeah, it's the standard story we hear all the time.
But what if a lot of that, what we've been taught about sunlight, our bodies, even chronic disease, what if it's deeply flawed?
That's exactly what we're digging into today.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into this really powerful article, Sunlight, Circadian Health, and the Sunscreen Myth. It features insights from ZDah, who's a big advocate for circadian alignment, holistic health.
In conversation with Nuggets News, yeah. It's quite an eye-opener.
Absolutely. Our mission here is basically to pull out the most important nuggets for you, the surprising stuff.
We'll cover ZDah's own journey, how he got into this.
Right, through some pretty surprising truths about light, diet, even how, corporate campaigns might have shaped our health beliefs.
Get ready for some aha moments. Seriously.
Yeah, stuff that could genuinely shift your perspective on well-being. So, kicking us off, ZDah is presented in this piece as a key voice. Someone pushing for lifestyle changes rooted in, natural rhythms.
Yeah, he's a strong proponent.
What's his story? How did he land on this path?
Well, it's actually a very personal story. He started out wanting to be a pro soccer player.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But then his father passed away quite young from heart disease.
Ah, that's tough.
Totally. And that loss, it really spurred him into health research. Just dive in deep.
Trying to find answers, I guess.
Exactly. And that quest led him, kind of unexpectedly, to circadian biology, specifically through Dr. Jack Kruse's work, which was pretty cutting edge.
Right. Kruse is a big name in that space.
For sure. And from there, ZDah just pivoted, started educating people, doing one-on-one support, really advocating for these lifestyle shifts.
So this isn't just theory for him. It comes from a really personal place.
Absolutely. A deep quest for health answers.
Okay, let's unpack this then. Circadian biology. What exactly is it? And why does ZDah call it the biological operating system of the body? That sounds significant.
It is, yeah. It's a huge claim, but he backs it up. Basically, the idea is that every single cell, every organ, every hormone process in your body, it's all tied to the light-dark cycle.
Everything.
Pretty much everything. Think of it like the master conductor for your whole system. This conductor is a tiny part of your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN.
SCN, got it.
And this SCN, it gets triggered, reset, really, by sunlight, especially that early morning sunrise light.
Okay, so the sun hitting your eyes basically tells the brain, okay, time to start the day.
Precisely. But it's not just the master clock. Here's what's really cool. Every organ, every cell even, has its own little clock, too. Peripheral clocks.
Wow, okay. Like tiny watches everywhere.
Kind of. And they all need to sync up with the main SCN clock in the brain. They stay in sync using cues from the environment.
Cues like what?
ZDah calls them Zeitgebers. It's German for time givers.
Zeitgebers, okay.
Things like light, obviously, but also temperature changes when you eat, even when you exercise. These all help keep the clocks aligned.
So what happens when they get out of sync, which I imagine happens a lot in modern life?
Exactly. That's the core issue he points to. When these rhythms get disrupted, too much artificial light at night, poor sleep, not enough natural sunlight, maybe eating at weird times, toxins in our diet.
All the modern stuff.
Right. It's linked directly to chronic diseases. Poor brain function, metabolic problems, hormonal chaos, even things like cancer. It's like your body's operating system is constantly crashing.
This really highlights how much we might be sort of fighting against our own biology without even knowing it.
It does. We think we're being productive working late under bright lights, but maybe we're just digging ourselves into a biological hole.
So if that's the problem, what's the solution according to ZDah? He lays out a kind of ideal daily protocol, right? What does that actually look like?
Yeah, he does. And it's surprisingly simple, really. It's about getting back to basics. First up, sunrise viewing. He says wake up maybe 5–10 minutes before sunrise. Get outside. No glasses, no sunglasses. Let that early, full-spectrum light hit your eyes and your skin.
Why is that specific time so important?
Because that light hitting your retina and skin, it triggers a cascade of hormones and neurotransmitters. Things like dopamine for focus, serotonin for mood, cortisol to wake you up properly.
And it helps regulate melatonin later.
Exactly. It sets the stage for melatonin production at the right time, later in the evening. It basically sets your body clock for the entire day.
Okay, sunrise. What's next?
Then, timing your breakfast. Eat during or just after that early light window.
Why then?
It helps sync up your metabolism. Ties into leptin signaling too, which is key for appetite and energy.
Interesting. And midday, we're usually told to avoid the midday sun.
Well, ZDah suggests building up tolerance to midday sun, gradually, and importantly, without sunglasses or sunscreen initially.
Really. No sunscreen. That goes against everything we hear.
I know, it's provocative. His idea is you start small, let your skin adapt, build up melanin naturally. He sees melanin as your body's own perfect sunblock.
Melanin as nature's SPF. Okay, we'll definitely need to dig into the sunscreen part more. What about the end of the day?
Sunset watching.
Mm-hmm.
Just as important as sunrise, he argues. It's the signal for your body to start winding down, preparing for rest, allowing melatonin to rise naturally.
Another light cue, basically.
Right. And then nighttime darkness.
Yeah.
Crucial. No bright overhead lights after sunset. If you need light, use very dim red light only.
Why red?
Because red light wavelengths are less disruptive to melatonin production compared to blue or white light. It helps maintain that sleepy signal.
Wow. For you, the listener, this isn't about rigid rules maybe, but understanding these levers, these powerful levers for your health that are just
They are
there.
available to us based on nature's rhythms.
Now, let's get into that really provocative insight you mentioned. ZDah's critique of the sunscreen industry. This is where a lot of common beliefs get challenged head on.
Absolutely. This is probably one of the most controversial parts of his message.
Well, so what's his argument? Why is he so critical?
Well, first, he claims that the rise of sunscreen wasn't primarily driven by solid, independent science. He argues it was pushed heavily by PR campaigns.
PR campaigns. By who?
He specifically names big corporations like L'Oreal and Nestlé, suggesting profit motive played a huge role in making sunscreen seem essential.
Okay, that's a bold claim. What about the science aspect?
His argument is that sunscreens actively block UVB rays, and UVB is what your body needs to synthesize vitamin D.
Right, vitamin D is crucial. We know that.
Hugely crucial for immune function, bone health, mood, even preventing certain cancers. So blocking UVB with sunscreen, in his view, creates a major nutrient deficiency problem.
Okay, but what about skin cancer? Isn't that the whole point of sunscreen?
This is where it gets really startling. ZDah points to certain chemicals common in sunscreens, things like oxybenzone, avobenzone.
Yeah, I recognize those names.
He calls them photocarcinogens. He claims these chemicals can actually become cancer-causing when they're exposed to sunlight.
Wait, what? The sunscreen itself becomes carcinogenic in the sun?
That's his assertion. The very thing meant to protect you could potentially turn harmful under the exact conditions you're using it for.
Yeah.
It completely flips the narrative.
That's a lot to take in.
It is. He also argues that sunscreen undermines our body's own natural defenses like melanin, which we build up with sun exposure, but also sweat and sebum, the natural oils on our skin.
So we're blocking our natural protection and potentially adding harmful chemicals, according to him.
According to his analysis, yes. And he critiques the research, too. He says many studies linking sun to cancer use, like isolated UV light on mice or rats, which are nocturnal animals.
Not exactly how humans experience sunlight.
Right. He argues it's flawed science, not reflecting real-world, full-spectrum sunlight exposure on human biology. His alternative, build melanin, gradually, smartly, especially using that AM light. That's nature's intended SPF.
This really raises a big question, then. If our natural defenses are potentially so good, why is there such widespread fear? Why the sun scare narrative?
That's the multi-million-dollar question, isn't it? His view points towards corporate influence and maybe a misunderstanding of how our bodies interact with light.
Okay. This deep dive goes even further, though. ZDah connects things like eczema, psoriasis, melasma, these chronic skin issues, not just to light, but also to our diet and our environment. How does that all fit together?
It's all interconnected in his model. He links these skin problems directly to circadian disruption and major shifts in the modern diet.
Like what specifically in the diet?
He really flags PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids. Think vegetable oils, seed oils like canola, soybean, sunflower. They're everywhere now.
Yeah, they are. Why are they a problem?
Because they oxidize really easily. They're unstable fats. And when they get incorporated into your cell membranes, especially in the skin, and then you expose them to UV light, they basically break down, weaken the cell structure, make your skin more vulnerable, more prone to inflammation and damage from the sun. It's like building your house with faulty materials.
So the seed oils make sun exposure potentially more damaging.
That's the argument. He also mentions refined carbs and something called deuterium.
Deuterium, like heavy hydrogen.
Exactly. Sounds a bit sci-fi, maybe, but he highlights how excess deuterium from processed foods and modern water sources can gum up the works in our mitochondria.
The energy factories in our cells.
Right. If your mitochondria aren't working well because of deuterium or poor fuel, like refined carbs, it leads to system-wide breakdown, including skin health.
So what's the dietary alternative he suggests?
Going back to basics again. Seasonal eating. Eating local foods that are in season where you live.
Like fruits in summer, more fats and proteins in winter.
Kinda, yeah. Aligning your food intake with the natural cycles and what your mitochondria expect based on light and temperature cues. He contrasts this with indigenous populations.
Like the Aboriginal Australians you mentioned.
Yeah. People who evolved in high UV environments often have lower skin cancer rates than settlers in the same place, despite more exposure, suggesting their diet and lifestyle, their whole biology, is better adapted.
That makes sense. You mentioned mitochondria are key, and they're light sensitive.
Hugely important. He emphasizes mitochondria as these light-sensitive organelles. Critical for energy, yes, but also overall health signaling.
So how do we support them beyond diet?
All the circadian stuff we talked about, the sunrise, sunset light.
Yeah.
But also grounding.
Like walking barefoot on the earth.
Yeah, direct skin contact with the ground. The idea is it helps balance electrical charge in the body, potentially counteracting some negative effects of EMFs, also cold exposure like cold showers or plunges. And crucially, avoiding the things that damage them. Artificial light, processed food, and what he calls non-native EMFs.
EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies, like Wi-Fi.
Exactly. He distinguishes between natural EMFs, like the Earth's own magnetic field, the Schumann resonance.
Which we evolved with.
Right. And these non-native EMFs from our tech Wi-Fi, 5G, Bluetooth, smart meters, all that stuff.
And how do those affect mitochondria according to ZDah?
He argues they disrupt mitochondrial function directly. They can interfere with communication within the cell, particularly calcium signaling, which is fundamental. It's like static on the line for your cell's internal communication.
Creating biological stress.
Yes. Potentially increasing risk for chronic diseases. He even points out that indoor exercise under harsh fluorescent lights could build dysfunctional mitochondria because you're stressing the body without the right light signals.
Wow. Better to exercise outside them.
Ideally, yes, or at least near a window with natural light. He also mentions early researchers like Dr. Robert O. Becker, who studied electrical currents in healing.
And that research was suppressed.
ZDah notes that Becker's work on direct current and regeneration faced significant hurdles in censorship, which kind of slowed down our understanding of bioelectricity.
It's truly a holistic picture ZDah paints, isn't it? Showing how light, diet, environment, EMFs, it's all interconnected for your health.
Absolutely. It's systems thinking applied to biology.
So looping back to skin protection, if sunscreen isn't the answer in his view, and we need to address diet and EMFs, what does he recommend for actually protecting our skin from burning, especially while building tolerance?
His focus is entirely on building inner protection, making your skin resilient from the inside out.
How do we do that?
Well, that early morning light exposure we talked about. He says that specific light helps your skin build compounds like filigrein and uronic acid.
What do they do?
They're like your skin's natural moisturizers and UV buffers. They help the skin manage hydration and light exposure internally.
Okay. And melanin, of course.
Melanin is key, formed through that process of melanogenesis, triggered by appropriate sun exposure. It provides that internal UV protection, but it's smart. It filters harmful rays while letting beneficial light wavelengths through.
Unlike sunscreen, which is more of a blunt instrument.
Kind of, yeah. He does say natural topicals are okay sometimes, things like coconut oil or beef tallow, but he stresses they aren't really needed if your circadian rhythms and internal systems are working optimally.
So the goal is resilient skin, not just blocking the sun.
Exactly. And this ties into a really empowering idea.
Yeah.
Epigenetics versus genetics.
Meaning our lifestyle choices can change how our genes work.
Precisely. You might inherit your mitochondrial DNA from your mother, right? That's genetics.
Yeah.
But ZDah argues strongly that you could reverse mitochondrial dysfunction through lifestyle, through light habits, diet, grounding, avoiding toxins. Your choices directly influence how your genes are expressed.
So we're not just stuck with the hand we're dealt, genetically speaking.
Not at all, according to this perspective. It really shifts the focus from genetic destiny to environmental and lifestyle choices. That's incredibly empowering for the listener.
It really is. Understanding these deeper biological mechanisms gives you agency.
Yeah, it puts the control back in your hands, to a large degree.
So let's try to synthesize the big takeaways from ZDah's insights here. What are the core messages?
Okay, I think number one is the sun is not the enemy. That's fundamental.
Okay, big one.
Number two, the modern environment is the primary problem. Artificial light, the wrong kinds of food, broken sleep cycles, chemical exposures. That's where the danger lies.
Got it. Modern lifestyle is the issue, not the sun itself.
Right. Third, circadian health is foundational. Getting your light cycles right impacts everything: skin, brain, hormones, disease risk.
Yeah.
It's the operating system.
Makes sense.
Fourth, the whole sun scare narrative. He argues it's largely misinformed, maybe even driven by profit motives, and ignores our natural adaptation to sunlight.
Challenging but important to consider.
And finally, the solution isn't necessarily complicated tech or pills. It's often a return to simpler ancestral ways. Natural light cycles, real seasonal food, more time outdoors.
Right.
That's powerful medicine.
You've just gotten a fantastic shortcut, really, to getting informed on a topic that's usually clouded by, well, a lot of misinformation and old ways of thinking.
Hopefully, yeah. Giving you a new lens.
This deep dive has definitely provided some surprising facts and, I think, a whole new framework for looking at your own health.
Food for thought, definitely.
So here's something to ponder as you go about your day. Think about how much of your routine, maybe your morning alarm and coffee, your work schedule, your evening screen time, how much is dictated by the clock on the wall versus the actual sun in the sky?
Good question. Clock time versus sun time.
Yeah, and maybe ask yourself, what's one small conscious shift you could make, maybe even starting tomorrow, to align just a little bit better with nature's rhythm? How could you lean into your body's actual biological operating system?